Hey everyone, today we're diving deep into exactly what you need to do after signing an Airbnb arbitrage deal. This is a comprehensive guide for setting up your property completely remote. So before we start, this is going to assume that you've already toured the property and can provide access to your team members. So let's get started. Number one, you're going to be building your design and setup team. So let's talk about your first major decision. Furnishing, if it's unfurnished, which I hope that most of the time it is unfurnished. And if you are picking up a furnished property, if the furniture is in good condition, or if it was previously a short-term rental, you were able to look at the previous numbers and know that it's going to make money even while coming turnkey. Okay, so that's first preference. But let's go ahead and just assume that it's unfurnished. So if you're not handling this yourself, you'll need an interior designer and a reliable setup team. For interior designers, I've actually found Upwork to be the most reliable source. All you would do is create a detailed job post and you'll get proposals from remote designers. The key here is to specifically mention you need STR design experience. If you need a recommendation, we actually have a fantastic designer we've worked with in the past on multiple projects. I will go ahead and leave a link below to be able to speak with this potential designer or just learn more about who she is and how she can help. Now, let's talk about your handyman. This is absolutely crucial. The best place to find reasonably priced, reliable help is through Thumbtack or Google. But here's the thing. Don't just hire the first person you find. You want to get 3 to 5 quotes and be very clear about the scope of work. This isn't just a typical hang a few shelves type of job. You're looking at an extremely clear timeline. If you want to get this property launched within a reasonable amount of time, you're going to want to let them know how soon it needs to be finished. Number 2, numerous packages that will need to be tracked and brought inside within the property by a reasonable amount of time. Because again, you don't want your properties just sitting outside the doorstep for hours and hours and hours. We all know about the Amazon thieves, right? So we want to make sure that the properties aren't just sitting there, especially, like I said, if you're remote, you have to rely on that maintenance person to be able to go and grab those properties, put them inside, and track them and make sure that you're not missing anything. You'll also need to remind them that they're going to be assembling everything. This includes furniture and all the items, taking them out of the boxes, putting them in the correct areas, mounting TVs, and smart home installation. Lastly, precise placement according to design plans. So if you have a good interior designer, they're telling you exactly where to place everything. They're giving you a map. They're giving you an idea of where everything needs to go based on the design structure that you guys have agreed upon. So they're going to need to make sure they do that as well. And again, tracking the inventory. If anything's missing, if anything's broken, being able to send it back, going to the location where they need to put the box, like taking the boxes out, like everything plays a part. So they have such a big job. They have such a big role. It's important that you let them know all of those things that are required. In addition, it's best to negotiate a flat rate with them, and again, that you're realistic about the work, because you don't want them coming back to you a week later and basically asking to renegotiate the rate since they didn't expect so much work to be needed. I've had it happen to me. It's not fun. It just forces you to start looking for other contractors or potentially have to pay this other one more. You can also let them know, though, that there's an added benefit for consistent work once the listing is actually live. So you can let them know that you could use them and call on them for minor repairs and replacements in the future. And then that way you at least have somebody on your side once you actually get the property up and running. Number 2 is essential setup. So I know that this sounds like, oh, we just talked about setup. Well, this is a little bit different. About a month before your planned launch, you're going to want to tackle 2 critical elements: utilities and insurance. First is utilities and Wi-Fi, and as obvious as this may seem, you'd be surprised how many operators leave this to the very last minute. You're going to want to go ahead and get these switched over or set up immediately to avoid any delays. Now let's talk about insurance. This is crucial. Many operators think they can rely solely on Airbnb air cover, but let me tell you why that is a mistake. Airbnb's claim process can be hit or miss. As we all know, if you've seen any type of reviews online, they're always talking about how Airbnb support doesn't take their side, how they're constantly denying them claims, how they constantly are losing cases. So do you really want to leave your fate and the property's fate up to Airbnb's claim process? I don't think so. Most property owners also won't even accept air cover alone. They'll be like, okay, air cover might cover some of those things, but what if they don't? They almost never accept air cover. And if they do, probably isn't a very diligent landlord. Also, those standard $10 a month renter's insurance policies usually won't cover properties run as an STR. You can try it, but I definitely don't recommend. What I do recommend, however, is insurance. And no, this isn't sponsored, but they're industry leader and they have been a solid provider over the years. We've paid anywhere from between $70 to $150 a month for 1 to 3 bedroom properties, but keep in mind, every policy is different and it definitely depends on your market and unique property features. We ourselves have filed multiple claims with them and have been reimbursed every single time, so trust me, this is not where you want to cut corners. Step 3 is building your operational foundation. So now that you have your setup team in place and essentials covered, it's time for the back-end work. This involves 3 major components. First is your cleaning team. So I would head to Turno, formerly Turnover B&B, and these cleaners are specifically focused on STRs. Here's my proven process to finding the best cleaners. Number 1, you're going to want to review the ratings from each bidder. See how many reviews they have, read the reviews from other hosts that have worked with them. Number 2 is compare quotes from multiple teams. If this bidder has good reviews and they're a solid professional and you come across a few of them, usually the pricing will be the same across the board, but if not, try to look at the ones that are maybe lower, the ones that are higher, and the reasons that might be. Number 3 is schedule test cleans with your top choices. I would definitely evaluate when you're scheduling these test cleans. This is usually when you're kind of getting ready to potentially launch the listing. I wouldn't do it when there's no furniture involved. You want to probably see how they stage the property. You want to see how they clean the bathrooms when there's items in there. You also want to see how they fold the towels, how they make the beds, how they create the ambiance, things like that. And then on top of it, when you're doing a test clean, you're going to want to evaluate their communication, their timing, their attention to detail. Because again, you want a professional. This is kind of like a quick tip, an additional piece of advice, is having somebody with a team. Having an individual can be very, very difficult because you're relying on one person. And a lot of things can go wrong with one person, especially if they clean other properties. Schedules can get delayed, cars can break down, emergencies can happen. So I would definitely have somebody that has a team, that has good reviews, that has a solid price, and that is easy to communicate with, and that's professional. Another quick tip is if you are picking up multiple apartments, and I've done this multiple times, is if I have a bunch of cleaners that I'm considering, let's say I have 5 units that I'm picking up in an apartment building, once they all have all of their furniture inside, before I list it, when I'm kind of getting everything up and ready for staging, I'll have them come in and do a test clean. I'll have one cleaner in one unit, another cleaner in another unit, another cleaner in another unit, and so on and so forth. And then from there, I'll go and I'll look, or if you have somebody like boots on the ground, you'll have them go and they'll look, and they'll let you know, okay, this person hit everything as they should, this person left a few things out, this person didn't even show, this person was kind of unprofessional, you know, whatever the case may be. So I would definitely do that before you launch the listings. Yes, you will have to pay for these test cleans, but it's worth it to avoid guest complaints later. So would you rather find out that a cleaner isn't sufficient before you launch or during a guest check-in? Exactly. Second is professional photography. Let me be very crystal clear. This is not 2019, and iPhone photos will not cut it in today's market. So here's how you can find the right photographer. Number 1, search local hashtags on Instagram or go on Facebook and look for a potential photographer there. I would focus on real estate photography specialists and budget between $50 to $300 depending on your market. It also depends on the size of the property, but really you should not be spending more than about $300 for professional photos. And you should be able to find a good photographer for that rate. You just might have to look a little bit harder. I haven't had photography photos done in a while, but the last time I did, I think it was no more than like $80 per set. I had 2 units that I picked up recently. And then lastly, you're going to want to review any previous STR real estate work if they have worked with Airbnbs and short-term rental companies before or on short-term rental units. That's obviously going to be a bonus because not every single real estate professional photographer is built the same. They're not all alike. They're all different. So I would definitely review everything and see any previous work that they did and see if they look better opposed to a different one. Again, get multiple quotes, like I say all the time. And then lastly is documentation and systems. We like to create comprehensive folders for each property, and usually it's through Google Drive, but it'll contain detailed property descriptions, comprehensive house rules, check-in and check-out instructions, as well as internal property information such as codes, passwords, things like that. And then lastly, team reference sheets with key details about the property and how to handle certain situations. And here's something really important that I feel like a lot of operators usually overlook, especially if they're new. Even if they only have one property, you should have a property management software, so a PMS. This will help you sync calendars across all platforms, automate guest communications, schedule cleaning services, manage maintenance requests, track property performance, and so much more. Even with one property, you can get a management software to be able to run your business smoothly and successfully for probably less than $20 a month. Now let's go ahead and get into launch preparation. So once all of these elements are in place, you're ready to submit your listing and launch. While pricing strategy and ongoing management are crucial for success, these initial setup steps create the foundation for a profitable operation. I want to be completely transparent. I'm not a guru and I don't have a course to sell you. Our company's expertise is in the crucial first step, which is finding pre-approved STR deals. If you're interested in viewing our current inventory of properties that are already pre-approved for short-term rentals and ready to lease today, you can register for free at LoCasa.com. Thanks for watching, and if you found this guide helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for short-term rental and real estate content. Drop any questions that you have in the comments below. Definitely happy to help, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.